Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
Do you have the courage to think? Because if you can think, you can change. You can move. You can evolve. You can grow. You can become. You are one idea away. Your credit is not a problem. Your car is not a problem. Your situation is not a problem. Your thoughts are the problem. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Everything starts in the thoughts you think. You are no better than the thoughts you think. If you think little, you go little. If you think weak, you go weak. If you think up, you go up. One thought. Slap yourself in the head. One thought. That's how close you are.
There's a simple but often overlooked premise in business, and that is new growth comes from new thinking. New growth comes from new thinking. Expecting new growth for your business without new ways of thinking about it is like a farmer expecting new crops to grow without first planting the seeds.
So now is the season for you to move distractions, confusion, turmoil out of the way to find a peaceful place where you can meditate and think, what am I going to do at this season in my life? What am I going to do with this age and stage? What can I do with the circumstances in my life? What would you do with what you have to make it better? One thought.
It's the time if you want to be on top of your game. Now listen, this is not for everybody. The masses will use their time being a spectator. We have been conditioned and programmed to be spectators, to watch people live their dream. You want to use your time living the kind of life that people watch you. You want to use your time perfecting your skill and your passion to stand out as an expert. Use your time to operate from that consciousness of Henry David Thoreau, who said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there is no path and leave a trail. If you just decide, I'm going to find something that I would enjoy doing, and then I'm going to carve out the time and have a schedule that I'm working on it every day, listen to me, nobody can touch you. There's no competition. There's no excuse today for not becoming successful. Even if you just lost your job, even if you're going through foreclosure and eviction, you can come back. You have no competition because the majority of the people throw their time away and they have nothing to show for it.
When you think about growing, whenever you're faced with a situation that you can't control and you make the decision to grow, it kind of trims the fat, right? The things that are not important, the things that are no longer something that you got to just focus on every single day. I'm talking about foolishness, right? And when you make that decision to grow, it's just like in marriage, just like being a father. You zoom in on that thing on such a level to where it's like opposition is what it is, the challenge is what it is, but every single day I'm going to come in and be intentional about growth. And when you change the way you think about growth, right? When you change your perspective, how you see things, the opportunity for growth, man, is limitless. Every single day, you got all of us in the world that are dealing with a similar situation, but people are responding differently. It's like the quote that says, we all got problems, but what makes us different is how we solve them, right? Everybody is faced with different situations, but what makes them different is how they solve them. And so for me, man, the greatest thing that's happened as a result of this pandemic, of this corona, of this COVID, is every single day I wake up and I'm intentional about my growth. I'm intentional about it.
You see, the largest gap between successful and unsuccessful people in life is the thinking gap. I'm not talking about being smart. I'm not talking about an IQ. I'm talking about how you think, how I think. Successful people think differently than unsuccessful people. The most important real estate, the most important real estate in life is 6 inches between the ears. How we think.
Becoming a better thinker is worth your effort because the way you think really impacts every aspect of your life. It doesn't matter whether you are a business person, teacher, parent, scientist, pastor, or corporate executive. Good thinking will make you a better business person, teacher, parent, scientist, pastor, or corporate executive. Good thinking creates the foundation for good results. If you don't like the crop you're reaping, you need to change the seed you are sowing. When it comes to achievement, the seed is your thinking. Good thinking increases your potential. If your thinking shapes who you are, then it naturally follows that your potential is determined by your thinking. Achieving your potential comes from making progress, and progress is often just a good idea away. For many people, the greatest detriment to their success tomorrow is their thinking today. If their thinking is limited, so is their potential. But if people can keep growing in their thinking, they will constantly outgrow what they're doing. Good thinking produces more good thinking if you make it a habit. Albert Einstein observed, "The solutions to the problems we face today cannot be solved on the same level of thinking we were at when we created them." Look around you, and you'll see that it is true. The world keeps getting more and more complicated. The good news is that no matter how complicated life gets or how difficult problems may seem, good thinking can make a difference if you make it a consistent part of your life.
It's easy to go around thinking that the obstacle is too big, we'll never get well, this virus is going to get the best of us. We wonder why we don't have any strength, why we can't get ahead. It's because our thoughts are limiting us. We draw in what we constantly think about. You can't think defeat and have victory. You can't think weakness and have strength. Your life is going to follow your thoughts. Instead of thinking these weak, defeated, not able to thoughts, you need to think power thoughts. This sickness is no match for me. This virus can't stop my destiny. This trouble at work is not how my story ends. Victory starts in our mind. Success, breakthroughs, new levels depends on our thinking. Be careful what you think, because your thoughts run your life. Are your thoughts helping you or hurting you? Are you thinking power thoughts, victory thoughts, well-able thoughts? Or are you thinking defeated thoughts? I'll never get well, never accomplish my dreams, never break this addiction. You're choosing which direction your life is going to go. Pay attention to what you're dwelling on. Don't just think any thought that comes to mind. If it's negative, discouraging, fearful.
That's why we're here. To work. Work. To leave our mark. And so do an evaluation of yourself. Ask yourself, if you look at 24 hours, how much time do you spend developing your mind? How much time do you spend learning a new skill? The economy's changed. 47 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence. Majority of money being made on the planet is being made virtually at home on a computer. The game has changed. And I'm encouraging you, get around people who are using their time productively, because people rub off on you. When you know your purpose, that narrows how you use your time. How are you using your time? You have something special. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine.
I got two major subjects to cover here to finish up with. Here's the first one. It's negative. Here's the second one. It's positive. Two subjects to finish up with. The first one's negative and the second one is positive. A good way to wrap up a seminar like this today. Some negative and some positive. Let me first now give you some tips on negative that really helped me. So valuable for me. I think you'll appreciate these. Here's number one. Negative is normal. Boy, that was helpful for me. No, it wasn't weird to be negative. Negative is normal. Normal meaning it's a part of the human experience. And it's a part of all of our experience. All of us have this same experience, the negative side of life. So negative is normal. Now, negative is not successful, right? But it is normal, meaning it's a part of the life experience. Here's number two. Negative is not to be ignored. Negative is very real. As soon as you planted the garden, the busy bugs and the noxious weeds are out to take it all. We have two things going for us in our human experience. Here's one, opportunity And here's number 2, the threat to the opportunity. So we deal with both of these twin scenarios in life, opportunity and the threat. Now, the threat to opportunity we call the negative side of life. Number 1, it's normal, meaning it's a part of the life experience. Number 2, it's not to be ignored. I know some people teach different, but listen to them and listen to me and make up your own mind. I know some people teach, just turn your head real quick and say, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. Hey, they'll take your garden. So you can't play silly mind games. You say, well, then how can you have a good garden? Well, you got to kill weeds. So here's number 3. Negative is to be mastered or conquered. That's part of the life experience. Now, this twin scenario of the life experience is unique. Negative, positive. In fact, we could probably get into quite a philosophical discussion if we wanted to. Would there be positive without negative? Here's the best I've been able to come up with. It doesn't seem like it. That's about the best I can come up with. Here's what it seems like. It seems like, based on our, our finite awareness now, since we're not infinite, we're finite, meaning creatures of the world, for the moment at least, that's about the best we can come up with. It seems like it takes both to make a unique human experience, both negative and positive. In fact, one suggests the other. Would there be life without death? It doesn't seem like it. What makes life valuable? Death? Somebody asked me once if I had a good description of life, and I said, yes, I think I do. Life is the struggle to keep death at a respectable distance. Death seems to want to move in prematurely, and get us. So to have a good, long, flourishing life, what do you have to do? Push back, push back, push back, push back. Now, if you don't push it back, it pushes you back. There's a push-shove going on here, and it's this negative-positive stuff. Would there be light without darkness? It doesn't seem like it. One suggests the other. Would there be success without failure? Well, I don't think so. You wouldn't call it success. You'd have to call it something else. It's the twin scenario that makes life interesting, fascinating, wondrous in its possibility, but also dangerous in part of the content. So this is the best I've been able to come up with. Negative is normal. It's not to be ignored, but it is to be conquered and mastered. But it is part of the experience. Don't deny yourself the opportunity to drink from both cups, negative, positive. That's the life experience. And hey, you wouldn't have it any other way. What if you went to listen to a symphony orchestra one evening and the symphony orchestra only played little happy high notes all evening? Just little happy high notes all evening, little happy high notes. How much of that could you take? A whole evening of little happy high notes? No, that doesn't represent life. Don't you want to hear the crash of the cymbals? The music that'll scare you to death? Describing the tragedy as well as the triumph? And the answer is yes, that's part of the life experience. Somebody says, well, I've been taught to be all positive. Well, you'll be some kind of freako then. What if the minister only prayed happy prayers every Sunday? How much of that could you take? Happy, happy every Sunday, happy, happy every Sunday, happy. No. No. Who's going to pray angry prayers? Who's going to pray frustrated prayers? Who's going to weep in public for the lost children? Come on. Negative and positive. In fact, in one sweep of one sentence, ancient script says it best. There's a time to laugh. Of course. And once you've learned to laugh, just keep on laughing. No. There's a time what? To cry. And you've got to be so sophisticated and well-educated that you don't laugh when it's time to cry. Another writer said, rejoice with those that rejoice. But that's not the end of it. It also says what? Weep. Weep with those that weep. You don't laugh when somebody's weeping. You what? See if you can't find and think of something to cry about when somebody's crying. You gotta drink from both cups. Negative is part of the life experience. In fact, I teach kids that you gotta think negative when it's positive.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
Can you live with somebody who has disappointed you. Watch out for people who fight stuff all the time. When you are always talking about something. Don't be surprised when you find them warming themselves by the fire of the very thing. It's eating at us. It is not what we are eating that's making us gain weight. It's what's eating at us. It's eating at our rest. It's eating at our joy. It's eating at our marriages. Because the suicide rates are going up while we are quiet and silent and politically correct and dancing all over the world. Our kids are blowing their brains out. And I will not keep silent. I'm tired of short caskets. I'm tired of 15-year-olds being killed in drive-by shootings. Somebody has got to have the courage to talk about life that is not just a straight line. And not just saying I'm not his disciple. He said, I don't even know him. It's a shame, but it's true. A lot of people say a lot of stuff until it gets real, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, to richer and for poor, till you pee on yourself. When it gets worse, shame. I was reading a non-canonical book called The Gospel of Judas, and in it purports the ideology that Judas really wasn't trying to betray Jesus. He was trying to put Jesus in a situation where he would have to overthrow Rome. And he thought that if he got Jesus in an open confrontation with Rome, that Jesus would show his power. And the trick blew up in his face. And he didn't know they were going to kill him. If he knew they were going to kill him, then why did he hang himself? And some of us have made decisions that cost other people their lives and their futures. And it's hard to live when you got the masterful plot and the plot goes wrong. We can't tell when our friends turn jealous, when our wives fall out of love, when our husbands stop caring. I'm talking about a guy who couldn't get rid of his shame, so he got rid of his life. I'm talking to somebody out there who has a hard time living with a dark secret. Judas didn't have to hang himself, and you don't have to blow your brains out. Jesus died for your kind of shame, for what you did to yourself, to your family, for what you did to your future. You do not have to go and hang yourself. God still wants you. He still cares about you. Isn't it funny when your name gets bigger than you? When you got a great name and a great person and a great professional and a great the other, and you got a great name, but you got a messy past. Somebody right now is in a situation of fluctuation and you are not living up to your highest ideals. You smell like swine, but he still wants you. A lot of us don't know what's in us, what we're capable of, because we buy into the myth and we believe our own headlines. You're a rock about this, but you are scared to death about that.
Hang on. I have Miss Columbia on my talk show. Miss Columbia gave me the highest rating I've ever had in the history of my 4-year-old talk show. T-Mobile called and paid me millions of dollars to do a Super Bowl commercial. A cha-ching. They paid me so much money, I go out there next year and say the wrong name again. You gotta wait and see what God got for you. I told my wife, I said, I always wanted a Super Bowl commercial. Said had one, they never gave me one. He gave me all of that, increased my global persona. We now have villas in 12 countries, free villas that we can go to, 8-bedroom villas. I can come for a month, me and my family absolutely free. See what God do? You gotta work through the adversity. When adversity hits y'all and it's coming, remember there's a lesson and a blessing. You got me? All right, next thing I need for y'all to know, this is the third lesson. Quit asking God to make your life easy. because he ain't gonna do that. See, people, y'all go to church, man. Y'all got all these scriptures y'all memorized, don't apply none of them to your life. God ain't finna make your life easy. Lord Jesus, Lord, I don't want this on me. Sorry. Lord, take away all my worries. That's you worried. Lord, I don't wanna do this. Lord, I'm so tired. What y'all doing? Quit asking God for that. You gotta have some faith. See, listen to me. Faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible. You gotta have faith, man. If you gonna graduate and whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you gotta put some faith on it. You can get through with all this here. You're gonna get your degree, and man, I can't tell you how big this is. But it's gonna be a piece of sheepskin that's gonna hang on your wall. You got to go do something. You gotta get some faith in your life. Lord Jesus, I want my life to be easy. It ain't finna be easy. You're gonna lose some loved ones along the way. You're gonna not get the job you want. Somebody on your job one day gonna come in there and hand you a slip of paper and tell you they don't even want you here no more. One of your companies is gonna up and relocate, and you ain't gonna have the money or the resources to go with the company. You're gonna go outside the club one day, your car gonna be gone. You're gonna drive up one day, your house gonna be on fire. Now your house fully ablaze. What is you asking God to take the fire off your house for? Your house is already on fire. Lord Jesus, had them drive my car back up here. Thieves don't return cars. Faith don't make it easy, man.
That's everybody's dilemma, I think, these days. A woman married to a baseball player, as to say, he's going to be gone most of the time. Would that be the ideal marriage? And the answer is certainly not. But should a man follow his talent and his unusual skills? He probably says yes. She says, well, at times I wish he was a banker and not a home run hitter. You know, it's a dilemma for all of us. How to balance it all, make sure we don't sacrifice some values for others. It's difficult for two people to grow at the same rate. One becomes ambitious and one's a little more, let's say, at home. How do you balance that out and make it work? It's never ending in terms of its challenge. A wife who has a career and children and husband and social responsibilities and friends and church and whatever, it's a big challenge. My current heroes are single mothers and school teachers. How teachers have the patience to work with kids and try to get the message across and do a good job. They have my highest admiration. And then a single mother with children. Wow, that's probably one of the toughest jobs in the world. How to balance career, work, job, raise the kid, make sure spiritually, personally, socially they're okay. It just seems almost impossible. But human beings have the unique ability to do the impossible. They make it work. How many stories have we heard in our own country? A mother who scrubbed floors for years and put her kids through college, and now they're all professionals and lawyers and a credit to society. Les Brown's got a great story. A mama who really cared but did the menial stuff till finally he got going and could help. Some people's lives, we look and we say, how do they do that? And we think we're a little pressed, and how do you balance career and fortune and all that? Hey, try scrubbing floors to put your kids through college, right? And then you say, hey, my problems are pretty simple and easy. But we all have the push and pull. A woman wants a hero and a successful husband. She says, go conquer the world and be home by 5 o'clock. He says, wow, let's see. How do I do that, right? Would she be happy with half the world, right? If I conquered just half the world and got home by 6. Let's do a little compromising here. But anyway, it is a challenge. When I was growing up, Papa worked and Mama stayed home. I was raised in sort of that atmosphere. Papa figuring out enough to take care of himself and his family. But, those days have all changed. Now the dignity of career, right? I believe, women have equal rights to follow their own star, but then to do what you're ambitious to do and qualified to do and learn the skills to do and still make a relationship work and family and church and society. And it is a challenge. But I think we're up to it. At least we've got plenty of help here on information and books and people that have been through it and said, hey, here's a couple of danger signals. It's okay as long as, but when this, and you say, okay, I appreciate that advice. And sure enough, you're going along and then you say, wow, I remember I was told these couple of danger signals here. Looks like I'm pretty close to that. I better back away.
What I'd like for you to do right now, I want you to think about your dream. Think about your dream right now. I want you to think about it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me share something with you. I do not believe that any of us have dreams that were not given to us for the purpose of accomplishing those particular dreams. I started out, as was indicated, very humble beginnings. I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how far-fetched it might appear to be. I don't care how disappointing it might have been as you've been working toward that dream. That dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible. See, sometimes we can't say, I can do that. But what we can say, that I can have my dream. As we work on it day in and day out, no one, ladies and gentlemen, could have convinced me when I started out working on my dream. And I want you to think about whatever your dream is. I was willing to take a chance, and most people won't do that. Most of the people that you talk to, these are not risk takers. Most people have done all that they're ever going to do. They raise a family, they earn a living, and then they die. But people who are running toward their dreams, life has a special kind of meaning. That in the process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain, a lot of defeats. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. That you have greatness within you, that you're more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine, that you're greater than your circumstances, that you don't have to go through life being a victim. I was born in Miami, Florida, in an area in an abandoned building on a hard linoleum floor with my twin brother. We were adopted. When I was in 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable, mentally retarded, and stayed in that category until I got out of high school. But I met a high school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student. When he came in, he said to me, young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you. And I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I'm not one of your students. He said, it doesn't matter. Follow my directions. I said, I can't do that, sir, because I'm educable, mentally retarded. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality.
I just make mine so simple that it really doesn't have those complications. If on your goal list is a ranch in Montana, and you say, well, if I worked hard and maybe it's my second year of following an entrepreneurial project and I'm doing fairly well, I think maybe I could accomplish that in 5 years. Sure enough, if good things happen, it's down to 3. If it takes me a little longer, maybe that's off in 10. But I just leave it on my list, not to make it an obsession. And then maybe the more I think about it, say, no, not a farm in Montana. An apartment in New York on Park Avenue. I think I'll change to that. I think that makes it easier. Let that inspire you. If goals inspire you to higher achievement of things and occasions and places you want to go and things you want to see and people you want to meet, if only a little of it comes true, but all of it served as inspiration along the way to do better and work harder and say maybe some of these goals will be closer than I thought now, it looks exciting. All of that serves you well. Who cares how close you got? Who cares if you set 200 goals and only got 10? It doesn't really matter. And I think if you make it that easy on yourself, tear up the list if you want to, start over. I've gotten some better information now. I'm not going to go for that. How about something else? I think that's the key. I make it easy. Make a list of what you want and start checking off the things that are easy to get on your list. A lot of little things that you start checking off, and then let the rest of it all unfold. But you might as well dream about, having an upstairs maid and a downstairs maid. If you happen to visit a rich man's home and say, wow, that's the life for me, I'm going to put that on my list. The guy's got a limousine and a driver. You say, wow, someday that's for me. And then later you say, no, this limousine and driver deal, that's not for me. But let it inspire you in the meantime. Why not? Even if you change your mind, threw that out, put in something else. One of my friends brought me on his Learjet the other day from San Jose to Van Nuys, close to my home. I thought, wow, it'd be nice to have a jet like this. But I think it only seats 4 people or 5. It was really small. Then he's got an 8-passenger helicopter. pilot and a co-pilot and 6 passengers. It's the latest state-of-the-art, fine machine. Then I thought I'd like to live in a mansion and have all the stuff. But then I go visit someone who's got the mansion and the security and the servants and the groundskeepers, and this whole house is just almost like chaos. And you have a cup of coffee and you drink it and you can't even set your own coffee cup down. Somebody comes and takes it away. And I say, with my temperament and style, this is really not for me. I've got to live a little more simple life. But for someone else, a house full of servants and groundskeepers and security and the whole entourage, that's for them. But if they wanted it and later changed their mind to live a little more serene life, then that's okay too. Did you ever get that mansion on the hill with all those servants that, yeah, I went for that for a while, but you know, the more I went to some places where people lived like that, the more I thought, no, this is really not for me. Having my fishing line in a tranquil stream in Montana, I think now suits my style a little better. I did a seminar in each city, in 13 cities, a month. I had the elaborate entourage. It was unbelievable. One day I decided, someday I shall have no office, I shall have no secretary, I shall be free. And sure enough, that day finally arrived. People ask me now, what is your email address? And I say, I do not have one. I do have a website that someone else runs, but I have really simplified my life. A company that I do a lot of business with around the world asked me, do you want an office? I said, no. I said, do you want a secretary? I said, no. Then I did say once, yes, I'm going to have this satellite and put a fax machine in my motorhome so that I can be in touch but out of reach. I want somebody to say, yes, you can contact him, but you can't find him for a while. You know, he's not gone forever, but he's gone for a while. So I do seek solitude, you know, chances to get away. My farm in Idaho, overlooking Snake River, is a great place to get away and deal in agriculture and build a few homes. A little change of pace from flying all around the world. It's exciting for me. But for now, right, I have no office and no secretary and no email address, and so I managed to escape most of it. And I think you just have to really make the hard and fast decisions. I did a speech one time, and the title of my speech was, Today I Am a Wealthy Man. Didn't have much to do with money. But here's what I said. I want you to jot these notes down. Here was number one. I said I'm wealthy because of my heritage, my parents, my grandparents. My grandmother studied nutrition, passed it on to my mother. Back in those days when my mother studied and practiced nutrition, she was called like a health nut, right? Do you go back that far, right? Your parents or grandparents? They were called health nuts. They were studying vitamins and they were studying this. Mama used to mix up some of this stuff for me and Papa and said, if this don't kill us, I think it'll help. And we're, gagging this stuff down. My mother, with the practice and study of better nutrition, extended her life at least, the doctor said, at least 20 years. Said if your mother hadn't have done that, she wouldn't have lived that extra 20 years. He said when your mother died, the walls of her heart were paper thin. He said how she lived this last 20 years is incomprehensible. And then I told him, Mama used to do all the juices, had the distiller to distill the water, all the stuff that was considered kind of kooky, right? Back in the 40s and the 50s and 60s. Herbs and twigs, I mean, something to smoke. But Mama did all that stuff, extended her life over 20 years. My father lived to be 93, never had a major illness. I've never had one. Passed it on to my children, my grandchildren. Unbelievable. My heritage. What's that worth? It's worth a fortune. So you got to contemplate every once in a while your blessings, and part of your blessing is your heritage. Next is the heritage of your country. We that come from the free country, engaging in enterprise to start with $1 and make a fortune, become a millionaire. What value is that heritage? It's unbelievable. We enjoy the benefit of courts we didn't start. We enjoy the benefit of laws we didn't create. We enjoy the benefit of learning institutions we didn't found. We enjoy the benefit of medicine we didn't discover. Wow. Heritage. Next, I said I'm a wealthy man because of my experiences. Experience makes you rich. Here's what you must treat your experiences as: commodity. You must treat your experiences as high value. You must treat your experiences as capital so that you can invest in the future what you've learned in the past. My experiences now have taken me around the world. A birthday celebration last year, right, in 16 cities. It was one of the most unbelievable experiences of my life. A group got together in Italy and gave me a helicopter tour of Sorrento, Naples, Vesuvius, the Isle of Capri, Pompeii from the air. Wow. Unbelievable experience.
God is not going to let the opposition delay you from your destiny. He has already scheduled your destiny moments. It may feel like you're falling behind, The opposition is holding you back. Stay encouraged. At the right time, that adversity is going to hurry out of your way. Red seas can't keep you from your purpose. God knows how to part those waters. Legal situations, companies that seem bigger, stronger, they can't stop God's plan for your life. It may feel like you're stuck. You don't see anything improving. Don't worry. God knows how to do a quick work. It can happen suddenly.